How many people were here to yesterday's panel? Part one. Okay, so part two, 2012. So I'm going to have Sean introduce everybody, and then I'll have everybody give their own introduction. But I have one question. From yesterday's panel, first person raised their hand. What did you get out of it? Okay, so this one's going to be much better. Have a good day. Have fun.
Mark Becker, head jerk of the NEWLIFE Expo, right there. Ladies and gentlemen. Testing, 1, 2, testing. Did you guys turn this off on me? Testing, 1, 2, testing. What do we do with this? Testing, 1, 2. Okay, everybody. Turn those up right there. See those two slits right there? Is it loud back there? Just turn those up right there if you can get to it.
Justin?
Yeah. Testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2. Turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up. Just turn it all the way, yeah. Testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2, testing, 1, 2. All right, is that better? All right, that's how it works. That's the magic. Well, you can tell, actually, hi, I'm Sean Morton. Welcome to the Strange Universe panel. How you guys doing? Hey, hi, Bridget. How you doing? And yesterday's panel was great. Who was at the panel yesterday? It was good yesterday. It was interesting. It's always interesting. The whole point of the Strange Universe panel is that it gives me a chance. Once again, we had a television show that I was one of the original producers on called Strange Universe in the 1990s. Ran from 96, 97, 98. It was one of the first original programs on the United Paramount Network, which is now the CW. Had a radio show called Strange Universe where we just dealt with a lot of different topics, and it was a national radio show that was competing with Coast to Coast for a period of time. And it was an opportunity for me to be able to take people that I admired, that I enjoyed, whose company that I like being in, to be able to present new ideas, new concepts, and just new stuff to people. So here she comes. So and you'll notice that the panel is full today because it's at 11 o'clock on Sunday, as opposed to nobody wants to get up at 10 o'clock on Saturday. So now we have all kinds of people here. So here she comes, Miss Jildanica. And so as everybody wanders in, as they wander in from their monasteries, from their mountaintops. Mostly from me.
I know I'm juicy.
They're out there. They're mostly, actually, most of our psychics on the panel are all getting B12 shots from the hangovers from last night. So it's no, just kidding. All right, so let me introduce some folks here, and once. Oh, now don't be all mad. It's a joke, John. It's a joke. We call it humor on this planet. Okay, I know you don't drink, and you're as pure as the driven snow. I understand.
Oh God.
All right. Okay. All right. So. No, and believe me, I tried to get all these people to party last night. They're like, oh, no, I got to sleep. No, it's New York. All we do is sleep in New York. I have homework to do for tomorrow and have to study and all that stuff. So anyway, I had fun. So, all right. I did, yeah. It was crazy. And let me just tell you that I have a friend who works in the building, a guy by the name of JT, who runs a casting company actually here in the building, who casts a bunch of movies in New York. And let me pay some compliments to you folks in New York City. First off, I love going out in New York City because people in New York City just love the party. I have never seen so many people dance in so many strange places. I mean, it's just you'll be standing in a bar, in the corner, and a song will come on, and two people just start busting out, just doing this, just a bunch of people having a conversation. Just, hey, yeah, I love this. It's Lady Gaga. I love paparazzi. On and on and on. And the other fun part about it too is that the thing I love about New York people is that, and do not take this the wrong way, having a good New York friend is like having a really great dog. You know why? Because New York people will growl at you if they don't like you, bite you if they don't like you, but if they're your friend, they're your goddamn friend. That's what I could say. Not only will people from New York cover for you, they will help you bury the body, is all I can say. So and that's what's great about a person from New York, man. They just get up in anybody's face. What, are you messing with my friend here? What are you doing? You got to let my friend in this club? I tell you, I got a Glock 9 right here. What's up with you? So it's actually, maybe I run with a rougher crowd than you guys. So, all right, let me introduce, let me just go along the line here and introduce some people. We do have some people that kind of have to that kind of have to go actually, and they're busy. And in all fairness, they have lecture. Now you have a lecture right coming up at 12 o'clock. So we're just going to try to blend everybody in. And I'm sorry about having so many people here. This gentleman here. Let me just introduce this gentleman to my left here because you folks can see him. By the way, he looks does he look nice today? Look at how nice he looks. He's in his Sunday go to meeting clothes today. So anyway, let me just start at the end here. This is a gentleman who's become a great staple on the Strange Universe panel. He's one of the hardest working psychics actually here at the show. He's actually you're not originally from California, but I know you're moving. You're going to be in California, and you're moving to.
Actually, I was originally from California.
Originally from California, and I know you're moving down to a little bit further down to my neighborhood because he's in the process of moving to the Santa Barbara, Santa Ynez. Actually, you're going to be in Port Hueneme, which is we have an area just over the hill from Los Angeles called Oxnard, and there's two really nice, as in yes, bull testicle, yes, Oxnard, and there's the really nice Port Beach part of Oxnard called Port Hueneme, and there's the really crummy onion field part of Oxnard where the LAPD bury people. So it's
I want to find some of those nightclubs that you go to.
Some of those crazy places. So anyway, he works with earth spirits, he works with gnomes, he works with all the amazing creatures from Middle Earth, if you will. Let me introduce a fantastic psychic who is just working nonstop here, Mr. Christian. There he is. Okay, and I'm going to a couple of things I'm going to talk about here where we've got all right, Christian and Alexis. All right, so let me do this because she does have to go here in a second. But once again, a very skilled and very talented clairvoyant, very lovely, and I admire anybody that can wear a hat this beautiful. This is Alexia's Carter. I'm sorry. Susan. I'm sorry, Susan. So, Susan, actually take the microphone for a second, please, because I know you have to go here for a minute. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but why don't you stand up for me? Tell the people a little bit about yourself. Give yourself a little bit of an introduction, and I'm going to let you go first to talk to people. So, because we're on a 2012 panel here, and because all of you folks not only speak to, I guess, the spirit world and other dimensions, and God, Jane, Jill. Usually when Jill's phone goes off, it's the Pussycat Dolls as her ringtone, you know. Undo my buttons, baby, undo my buttons, but it's not today. Okay. Thank you, dear. Tell them we're not here. All right, anyway, so let me ask you, once again, the kind of the topic of the panel here, not to put you on the spot, is, once again, we're talking about 2012. There's a big movie coming out in November about 2012, about, you know, it's that hopefully is not going to scare everybody with disaster and all the other things that are going on. But the reason we have people on this panel is because you have a tendency to kind of see around a few corners, if you will. So your impressions, you know, a little bit of the future, a little bit right now as to what people need to know right this minute, but maybe a little bit of a projection of what you see coming down the pipe.
Well, definitely throughout this time, particularly...
You got to hold the microphone real close because it's not...
Particularly leading up to 2012, we're going to be experiencing a lot of emotional clearing, emotional chaos, and particularly within the system, because we are seeing a process of the system breaking down. I am an astrologer, and what is happening in the stars at this time, Pluto has just entered Capricorn, and we saw major transits in 1989, 1990, with outer planets moving into Capricorn. That's very significant because that was the fall of the Berlin Wall. That was the fall of a lot of the structure and systems. So that's going to repeat itself, absolutely, and it's probably very, very necessary. Also, we're seeing what hasn't happened since 1965. What happened in 1965? But there was a major revolution, a revolution of consciousness. That same aspect's happening in the sky right now. So we're seeing restriction, we're seeing the government trying to clamp down, more taxation, everything trying to become more structured, but we're also going to see revolution. So there's going to be a push-pull in those areas. That's very, very important. And another thing that's very fascinating astrologically, are 3 major planets aligning in the sky right now that is going to have a major revolution in the healthcare industry. And we're seeing that happen right now. I think particularly what's going to happen is how we've been manipulated by the pharmaceutical companies, particularly in regards to prescription drugs, because we are a nation on drugs. Not necessarily...
Yeah.
And that's not...
I wish I had some right now, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Kidding, joking again.
Well, it was illegal in the it was illegal drugs.
Everybody's
in the
on drugs except John Oliver, I might add. So John Oliver, no drugs for John Oliver. Sorry,
Yes.
Susan, go ahead.
It was illegal drugs in the 60s. It's prescription legal drugs now that are just kind of doping our consciousness. But more and more we're becoming awake. And the earth is waking up, absolutely. And the way the food chain operates right now, and particularly the manufacturing of food that's destroying our planets and causing a lot of pain and suffering in an unnecessary manner, just so the fast food industries can make a lot of money, that's going to have to change, because the earth is waking up and she loves her creatures, and she's not going to put up with that anymore.
There we go. Amen. Susan Hughes. Once again, Susan's going to be in the she's going to be in the Chelsea room at 12 o'clock. Master astrologer channel, fantastic stuff. And as we're moving along, let me begin to kind of introduce everybody else here. She's been a natural psychic along with her mother. Actually, it comes from a family and a long lineage of psychics and sensitives and intuitives. She's been on television. I can't even tell you how many times. She has her own radio show in Florida. She is based out of you're based out of Miami, yes? Based out of Miami? Based out of Hollywood, Florida, of which Hollywood, California was named. And she needs really little introduction, because she is a fantastic personality, an amazing psychic, has been a great light for this particular movement in expanding consciousness and helping people all over the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'll just go down the line here introducing everybody. Miss Jill Dane. So here's Jill. Next, hold on, Jill. We're going to let everybody talk in just a second. So, next one up, let me just introduce everybody. You've probably once again seen him on television in the program. It's Psychic Detective. Yes, was the show you were on? Haunting Evidence. I'm sorry, Haunting Evidence. And again, as a person who talks to spirits, as a person who speaks to the dead, he has helped police departments solve crimes all across the country. He is a star of stage, screen, of television, of radio. He's a snappy dresser, a handsome man, and a heck of a dancer, Mr. John Oliver, ladies and gentlemen, who has been drug-free always. And has never in his life been naked. So, all right. So now, all right. The next person I'd like to introduce has been a close personal friend of mine. She has a fantastic story that I think we should actually make a movie about. She went to the University of Tennessee. Did Tennessee win yesterday? By the way, did UT win? Okay, University of Tennessee took all our coaches, Lane Kiffin from USC, which I think was kind of fun. USC won yesterday, fight on. I don't know if you saw the USC Notre Dame game, any of you guys, but we won by a touchdown in the last minute. And the great thing about Notre Dame is that everybody else calls it the luck of the Irish, but most people just call it cheating. So if you actually saw the game, you'll know what I'm talking about. But she comes from I call this the ultimate Scorpio, turning from the scorpion into the violet phoenix kind of story. Where she and her family actually lived in New Orleans. They were victims of Hurricane Katrina. She lost virtually everything she had, lost her home, her family. I think your family's still living in like FEMA trailers down there. She came to Los Angeles with virtually nothing. We helped her and befriended her, and I personally saw what a talented, sensitive, intuitive psychic healer and communicator that she was. So I had the opportunity to introduce her to Mark Becker, and had the opportunity to introduce her to all of you. She is my friend. She's a lovely, lovely, lovely lady, Miss Stacy Breeze, ladies and gentlemen. Our next guest is a new person on the panel. We kind of haze our rookies just a little bit, but it's she is a trans channel. She's actually giving a talk or a lecture. Oh, your lecture was Saturday. Do you have a lecture? Do you have a lecture today? you have any lectures or workshops whatsoever today? But you have a booth here, yes? Yes. Okay. She is she does something that's called transference healing, and transference healing has to do with a trans channel of spirit and energy to help heal, to help communicate with the other side. And so it is our new guest in the Strange Universe panel. Please welcome Alexis Cartwright. And of course, nobody sticks baby in the corner, ladies and gentlemen. But we just ran out of chairs. This man's personality could fill this room, brothers and sisters. He is dressed in his Sunday meet and go to barbecue clothes. I am telling you, he is the Ayatollah of spiritual rock and roller. He is the Clarence to my Bruce Springsteen. He is the Batman to my Robin. He is a man of spirit, a man of power, a man to whom Barack Obama says, "Ooh, you is cool, brother," and someone who, once again, has literally rubbed elbows with presidents, popes, prime ministers. He is the man who said to George Bush, "What you talking about? What the hell you doing? You stop that with that war, you bad George Bush." He is the earthquaking, air conditioning, shaking, cake baking, earthquaking, ladies and gentlemen. He is my brother. He is the James Brown of the spiritual movement, brothers and sisters. He is the godfather of true soul, ladies and gentlemen. Reverend James Capers, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm buying this cake. I'm buying this cake so I can play it over and over.
We'll put some music behind it, little production value. So, okay. Once again, starting at this end here, and then I've got everybody introduced. If you want to pass the microphone down here for just a second. Actually, let me ask you one more question, Susan, because I know you have to go here. Here's what's kind of interesting. I think it's very. I went to last summer. I was at Exeter College at Oxford, and I took their summer school program for my master's in astrology. So when I was there, I was with all the big head people, which you know, Robert Hand and Bernadette Brady, and some very interesting people there. And let me ask you one thing. As a master astrologer, I'm just a talented amateur at this. There is a conjunction that I think that people should know about that I would like to open this with. Coming up in and let me give you my opinion, and let me get your opinion on this. Because coming up in July of 2010, on July 23rd, if I'm not mistaken, we have Saturn moving into Libra. Yes? Saturn moves into Libra. So here's what's interesting about this, and here's what is of concern to all of us. Pluto, the planet Pluto, is moving through Capricorn, and Pluto began to move into Capricorn 2008, right around the election, I think. Right? It was like November. It was right at the election in 2008.
Before that, but then it retrograded and moved back, and has just come back.
But this is why it's significant, because Pluto is the planet of death and destruction and assassination and conspiracy, and Capricorn is the sign that represents finances, banks. Destruction of finances, banks represents the skeleton, if you will.
Yes.
And so the interesting part about this is that everybody's talking about what's called the Grand Square. And from what my research is, and this is what I want to ask your opinion on, coming up in July, we have this square. When you understand squares in astrology, it means everything's just kind of ripped apart from the middle. Pluto in Capricorn. Last time Pluto was in Capricorn was the American Revolution, 1760 to about 1780 or so, which means it got down to basically just getting guns and kicking the British out of here. So when Pluto is there and you have the square happening of Saturn now moving into Libra, with the square of, please help me if I get this right, Uranus is now moving into Aries, yes?
It will be moving into Aries.
And Jupiter into Aries. If you take the chart of the United States, the Sibley chart of the United States for 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. of July 4th of 1776, and then if you take three charts, if you take Ben Bernanke, the Federal Reserve Chairman, Robert Gates, the Secretary of Defense, and this is where I had a big debate with the astrology people, because there's two charts for Barack Obama. Right. People are using Barack Obama's Hawaii chart, and I did the chart for Barack Obama for Mombasa, Kenya. And once again, I ain't hating, I'm just stating. I'm just telling you that if you do that chart, it comes out a whole different way, which is kind of interesting. But if you plug those charts into the U.S., into the Grand Square, it looks to me as though there's either revolution or complete destruction of the military-industrial complex, the executive branch, and the financial system coming up sometime in July. So I just was hoping you might comment on that.
Very likely at the end of 2010, we're going to see a really strong financial meltdown.
Do you know what form it's going to take with the planets? I mean, is it just
well,
the banks
it
are
is
gonna
the
disappear, or
Pluto
what?
square Saturn. Okay, but see, Pluto going into Capricorn itself means a breakdown in the system. You know, it's a transformation. It's not necessarily destruction,
Right.
because Uranus kind of changes everything, takes everything away. That's going to be a little bit later. But with Pluto, it burns whatever is no longer useful to us, and something rises new.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So hopefully, but see, we all have a choice in this. You know, nothing's ever fated. If consciousness shifts, if consciousness decides to work, you know, at a more graceful, a more elegant state, rather than the way we have been kind of operating in this country from a very, very greed base. But you're going to see also a lot of things going on around. Well, take back when our founding fathers in 1776, when Pluto was in Capricorn, we were dealing with something very significant. That was slavery. Well, we're still dealing with slavery.
Oh, don't get it.
Where do
Yeah.
our clothes come from? They come from China, Indonesia, where those people are really in slavery, but at a very low wage, because they won't survive unless they do this at such low pay. Or our food, you know, the migrant workers from Mexico.
Right.
So we're still really dealing with slavery. You're going to see that start to break down. But what's scary in this nation, we don't know how to do those things anymore. And if that gets cut off, we're going to be in big trouble. So everyone, please learn to become more self-sufficient. Know how to grow your food. Know how to make your clothes. I mean, because that may become necessary eventually.
Okay, thank you. And Susan Hughes, ladies and gentlemen. And Christiane, why don't you take, because I'll just work down the way here. Now, you know, great respect, great honor to you, sir, because I've had some readings with you, and they've been immensely prescient. So thank you so much. And it's
you can repeat that if you like.
okay. I've had some readings with you, and they've been immensely prescient. You know, what I get the feeling of, I had a weird episode about a week or so ago where I'm standing in my kitchen and suddenly I got this vertigo, and it felt like my head was splitting apart, and like all my brains are being sucked out my right ear, and I started spinning, and so I'm on the floor looking at the ceiling, do helicopters, and the next day was the quake in Samoa. So my question to you is that, because being sensitive to a lot of this phenomenon, and I've been noticing, and let me put this out, because hopefully this just verifies my reality. A lot of lower back pain. Anybody? Weird things going on with your legs and the hamstrings, the backs of your legs, headaches, neck aches, and not just the usual wintry kind of stuff. I literally think, you know, because I'm in California, and in California we live on a crystal matrix, if you will. It's all quartz crystal and gold and whatever else. And being sensitive to the phenomenon, you work with earth spirits. You work with with the kingdoms of angels and the plant kingdom trees and whatever. I mean, it seems like the earth is just screaming right now. So give me some impressions from that world as to what's going on at the moment.
Right, there's a couple takes now. Remember, we are approaching 2012.
Yes.
So the Earth is actually changing due to the magnetic forces and pressure within the Earth. Externally, the magnetic fields outside, the matrix, the meridians are all changing. We're entering a period of change. Everybody's known that time has sped up recently, right? Hands. There you go. Okay. So you're all experiencing that change already. We live by the various forces that affect us. And that's why when 2012 actually has this alignment and these shifts occur, and it could be magnetic or it could be a polar flip, there's also an alignment effect with the planets when they actually do a push and pull on the Earth, and there's the sun's blocking the center of the galaxy, and after about 12 minutes suddenly we feel the full effect, which is where God puts his hand into the mix and actually starts changing consciousness for us. But we react to those fields and those forces that push and that pull. And so as that changes, that's how we change our consciousness. And that's usually like a 26,000-year cycle. Now, the nature spirits, the gnomes, the leprechauns, elves, fairies, of which there's like 6,000 types actually, have been here since day one, which is, 4.5 billion years ago. Slowly, carefully building the whole thing up. Minerals, scents and flowers, and actually they came through in waves of kingdoms to prepare the world for us. But they are builders of form, and that's how we get gold, silver, copper, iron, all those minerals. So they follow sort of a blueprint. Now, that blueprint follows consciousness. So as the 2012 year approaches, we have to change consciousness. So the Earth has to change also. And this is why it's a necessity that we do have some of these things that we're calling catastrophes. We need those things so that the Earth actually changes, the conditions, the forces, as I mentioned. So we feel the effects and are now conducive to the state of change that will help us raise our consciousness. But that's what the Mayan calendar is about. That's what all the ancient wisdom was speaking to. It wasn't just the Mayans. You know, in Egypt, they had the same calendar concept, still referenced the date 2012, as did the Sumerians. We're all talking about this phase that occurs every 26,000 years. Interesting, by the way, we're actually 26,000 years away, light years from the center of the galaxy, too. Interesting. And so we're going through a change, which I call a race, a change of races, although some people call that ages. And we're reaching the midpoint. We're not reaching the end of anything like the calendar is often stated as being, the end of something. The ancients have always said we have to get to this midpoint that's occurring in 2012, and that's when the consciousness will change. It means that we've reached the level of greatest density in humanity. It's like life spirals. I've used this diagram before. Life moves from a consciousness that's high down to a density level, then back up again. At 2012, we've crossed that midpoint. And that's what they were trying to say. We're going to cross that midpoint, and then consciousness will start going upwards. But we are still actually in this age. We're not through with this one yet. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Pass it on down. Jill, if you want to pass the microphone down there. You okay?
What?
You awake now? You all right? You okay?
Pick on me.
You're down in Florida, yes?
Yes.
And again, Florida.
We don't have crystals in Florida.
Yeah, I was going to say when you think of metaphysics and
We
mass
have rocks.
consciousness and
Yes.
you know, the higher New Age, everybody always thinks of Florida. You ever notice? So
That's where everyone comes, is Florida.
they all come from Florida. Usually, it's sort of like God's waiting room. It's a wonderful place.
Yeah. But I'm from Jersey.
You know, but you're originally from Jersey. So, your impression once again. Let me, you know, you talk to the spirit world. You're in the trenches speaking to people every day. You're on the radio. You're doing readings.
We have a TV show coming up.
Fantastic.
Yay.
Promote the TV show and let me know. Just give me some
have 3 other
information on what's
episodes.
coming down. What's coming down the pipe. What's
coming out of the
what
pipe?
are people
I'm
feeling
in the
right
Globe
now?
magazine every week. You can pick up the horoscope I do every week. And we have a TV show that's going to be amazing. It's me, myself. I picked 3 other special people in Florida to be on the show. One's Deidre. Her name's Deidre Abrani. Another one is Tia Crystal. She's into meditation and healing. And another one is an amazing astrologer. Her name is Terry Nazon. And we're having a show. I don't want to say the name yet, but I can't say the name.
Okay,
I can't jinx
all right.
it yet. I can't jinx it. But
Watch for Jill Dane's show.
watch
okay.
for the Jill Dane show.
The Jill Dane
But-
show, starring me, myself, and
But
I.
it's going to be on a major TV network. You'll all hear about it because it's going to be on commercials and everything. But we did the signings and everything else, and it's already in the works.
Congratulations, fantastic.
And we're going to bring Sean on the show.
Oh shucks, I don't
And
know.
we're going to bring Mike James,
Never
and I'm going to bring everyone on here on
Wonderful.
the show. We're going to have a boot camp.
You are a river to your people, Jane. Thank you so much, Jill. Now again, is the 2012 shift and what you're
The
seeing
Mayan
from the
calendar
spirit
ran out
world?
of ink. That's what happened.
Your what? I'm sorry. Your calendar
ran out of ink.
Okay, give us your impressions on what's going on right now and what people need most to know.
No, first of all, I mean, with everyone getting... I was joking. Okay.
It's a little early.
I'm trying to wake up. Okay. With everyone, you know, I believe in the power of prayer. That's one thing, and positive thinking. And the one thing is with 2012, and when you said about the manufacturers, I have a prediction out there that I put on television a year ago that we're going to be opening up our own manufacturers in the United States where we won't need China and we won't need these other places or sources. And slavery, I don't like that word so much. Okay,
It's happening.
That was
Nobody
a
likes it, but it's happening.
I know, but let's use a different type of word. That was a long time ago. That word.
No, it's slavery. I don't know.
I
what
don't
else to
like
tell you.
that
It's
word.
what
That's
they
not
do
a
in China
nice
and
word.
Indonesia. It's slavery. Unless you name it what it is, you can't stop it.
Okay. I don't like the word.
Okay.
Okay. But anyways, we're going to be opening our own manufacturers in the United States where we won't need these sources in time. That's one prediction that's going to be amazing. And another thing is by 2012, if I could say with everybody, you know, there's a lot of positive things that are going to start to happen. And that's the truth. It's positive. It's not negative. Our finances for the U.S. is going to go up. Our real estate for the U.S. is going to go up. Gay rights, gay people that are the marriages, there's going to be marriages. Like last time I said, when we were on the panel, I said they're going to pass that in California. And
they didn't. So
they're going to.
Okay, all right.
They're going to. So I'm just saying that's where they will. They passed it when I was here. I said they were going to pass it, and 3 months later they did, and then they took it back, and they're going to take it back again. So that's a good note for for everyone on that, you know, for them. But you know, there's going to be positive things that are going to be happening because you're going to start to see people, teachers, are going to get their jobs back. People that lost jobs. People that, these are predictions, people that were laid off, they're going to get rehired, you're going to see. The economy is going to rise. This is a prediction. The economy is going to rise. People will have jobs. Financially, we're going to start it's not going to all happen at once, but it's going to start happening. It's like a seed that's going to grow. So, you know, with all the doom and gloom that I've been hearing in other places, start with what's going to be going to happen, what's positive thoughts that are going to happen. People that may not right now that may not have their job that they were getting paid at one time, later on they'll have that job again because gases will go down. Gas prices will go down again. I remember when I was here, what was it, 2 years ago, and I said gas prices are going to go sky high to like $3-4, and it was down at 2 something, and then all of a sudden a year later, Sean, you predicted that too, and it went up to $4. So you're going to start to see how things start to go down, food prices start to go down. I believe it's going to be a great change. That's me.
There you go. Gildain, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Stacey, why don't you pass that one over, John, if you want to take it.
Okay, so 2012. You know, we have a lot of pollution in the world. We've talked about that a little bit. We've talked about the fact that we have environmental warming, and Susan Hughes has mentioned the problem that we have with the torture of animals. And you were reminding me of something that I tell sometimes in lectures, and that is when I was a little boy psychic. And I was walking in the grocery store.
And psychics are so cute when they're little. Aren't you cute, little psychic? Aren't you cute? What's mommy thinking? What's you cute?
That's right. So I'm a little boy psychic walking in the grocery store with my mother, and one day we get close to the section where all the meat and all the chickens are, and I'm overcome with this impression of animals screaming with nobody coming to help them. Okay. Unfortunately, yes. That doesn't happen to me now. But because of that, later on, when I was 10 years old, I was the first person in my family to make myself become a vegetarian and eventually a vegan. So when Susan Hughes was talking about that, I thought that if we all want to do something right away, today, to help to clean up the planet, save an acre of rainforest a year, we could decide to make that choice for ourselves. I'm not telling you to do that, but look into it, okay? Look into it. That's something that you could do to actually right now help the planet, okay? And for me, that's always been a lot better than just doing white light meditations and wrapping the planet and bringing downloads down and expanding the DNA and so forth. So anyway. But the worst kind of pollution that we have, aside from all of this, the reason this happens, is we have human relationship pollution. Okay, human relationship pollution. And if you talk to the Mayans who are very much into the 2012 date, December the 20th, 2012, as being the last day of this particular humanity that we're in, according to the Mayans, and December the 21st, 2012, being the first day of the next humanity, we're looking at a progression of elements. I'm going to talk about elements a little bit later, but the Mayans feel that we're in our fourth humanity now, that we have humanity of fire, earth, air, and water, and we are in the water humanity currently. And when we get into the next cycle, we're going to go into the ether humanity. And that the ether humanity is not a polarity of either male or female, but a polarity of oneness. And I think that one of the keys for ourselves, because what are we going to do about the bank, really? I mean, we're going to surround Wall Street with white light. Okay, let's.
Yeah, that'll help.
Okay, that's going to help. But what we can do is address the aspect in our lives of the relationship between the male and the female. This is very, very important. And the harmonizing of those relationships in our lives, which means doing the work of forgiveness work, of doing the work of healing the male-female relationships in our own families, is what the other thing that we can individually do to help to bring this new consciousness into the planet. I agree that we have a sea of chaos going on. I hear these astrological aspects that are very, very intense, and the Pluto going into Capricorn and Uranus going into Aries, and all of these things speak of chaos and destruction and so forth. However, that doesn't have to be in your universe, because while the rest of the world and all of the other planets are going crazy and everybody else is in a turmoil, that's why we're here gathered in a place like this today, because you have a choice within the potential chaos to be the exception. And that's what I think 2012 can be about for us. Everybody, I was saying this yesterday, Sean, everybody can have their own custom-made doomsday. Okay? You do not have to wait for 2012 or Pluto to go into Capricorn or Uranus to go into Aries. You can custom make your own doomsday whenever you want, but because you can do that, you can also custom make your own day of paradise and glory. Okay?
Amen. John Oliver, ladies and gentlemen. Hallelujah. Here she goes. Take it away, darling. By the way, just one thing. Stacy has like way too much Virgo, so you can see she's got a zillion notes and cards and all kinds of things that are all very well organized. So Stacy's comments will be very, very well organized. So there you go. Stacy, take it away.
Thank you, Mr. Smarty Pants.
Take a breath. Take a breath.
Actually,
Slow.
the reason for those of you that have had
Mike,
those of you that have had sessions with me and come to a few of my lectures, you know that I'm very visual, and I work with a lot of your spirit guides. So it's really hard for me to pay attention because there's about 200 of you in this room, but for me it's about 2,000. I see all of your grandmothers, the gnomes. I see all your spirit guides going up and down. Hey, can you tell them this? Can you tell them where the keys are? Can you tell them to be careful of this? Hey, hey, hey! And so it's just a little bit for me to hard for me to pay attention. So if I make notes, and then they kind of tend to not be so aggressive in trying to get that dying, life-altering message to you. So that's why I keep them. But to agree with Jill, I really think this is a time, it's a magical time, and you picked it to be here. And what I really think from working with the other side and what I've seen and what I've been told is I think that there are two major energy and light waves coming through. And it's essential for your spiritual growth. You have to remember you are a light being in a human body having human experiences, not the other way around. So you really need to remember that this is when your soul decided to come down in this human body. It's kind of like school. You came here to experience things. You didn't come here to check things off on your list and to get things done and get the bigger house and compare yourself to the Joneses and be skinny and beautiful, blah, blah, blah. You came here for the experiences of it. So remember, you're not a victim, you're a volunteer. And if you can remember that as you feel the vibrational frequency increasing over these next few years, as 2012 comes, if you can kind of remember that and just kind of try to work with your spirit guides. I have a workshop this afternoon that you're more than welcome to come to, and we'll do meditations, and you can actually meet them, and you'll leave with the whole communication system set up with them, because you need a little bit of extra help for what you're going to be going through in the next couple of months and years. Is it going to be challenging? Yes. Is it going to be worth it? Absolutely. Because you have to remember, as one of these waves of light is coming I've named them because I have a 2012 workshop if you want to come to it on Monday evening. But one of them I named Oliver because he's all over you. He's actually coming through, and he's blanketing you and giving you.
No relation to John Oliver.
Not at all, no. But again.
Who is a vegan and is drug-free.
No. But the Virgo, the double Virgo in me, for my presentation on Monday night, I have Oliver, like OLIV, and then I have different things for you to remember, some of those things that he's going to be offering you. So he's going to be blanketing you with awareness. He's going to open the gates of higher consciousness. He's going to offer you light, wisdom, and knowledge. He's going to offer you absolutely new choices, new possibilities. I'm telling you, when this shift comes, you are going to have a new rule book. You're going to have a new guidebook. The little waiver that you signed when you came down to school saying, I promise to put this bag on my head and forget all of my gifts, forget that I can talk to the other side, forget that I can teletransport. When you signed that waiver and you forgot all that and you gave all that away, it's coming back to you tenfold. So it's
Hallelujah.
So, you should. So guys, listen. So when you see the movie come out, and remember, Sean and I lived there, and now all the drama and the sensationalism of 2012, the end of the world, blah. It is going to be the end of the world as you've known it, because you know what? You're no longer going to be stuck in this third dimensional, comparing yourself to other people. I need to be this. I need to be that. Life. Oh, I got my. I lost this. I lost that. It's going to be gone. You're moving now. A lot of you are playing in the third dimension, fourth dimension box. So a lot of you are kind of, the blinders are coming a little bit off, and then they come back on. So you're thinking, wow, there really is something to this manifesting thing. So you're kind of floating into the fourth dimension, and when this shift comes, you're going to be in the fifth dimension, and you're going to have access to anything that's possible. Any gift, any psychic gift, any manifesting, you're going to have anything and everything that you want. So just remember, it's a really good time, like Jill said, to let go of your stuff, let go of all the negativity, let go of all the, oh, my childhood sucked, my parents are awful. We all have had that, but you signed on for it to make you the person that you are today. So remember, one of these waves of light are coming in and giving you that awareness, giving you the, wow, this isn't working for me anymore. I want this and I want this. So work with your spirit guides, tell them what you want, tell them how you want it, when you want it, and just sit back and let it come to you. Don't worry about how. You just tell them what you want and let them do their job and let them give it to you. And then the second wave, I've called her Harmony, because don't be fooled by the name. She's the one that's going to come through, and she's working simultaneously with Oliver. I call them the twins. They're coming together, and they're working synchronistically. So as Oliver's coming through and blanking all over you and blanketing you with this higher level of consciousness, opening these secret gates and giving you the ability to go and, because this is all about, it's kind of like grad school. It's giving you the ability to figure out why you really came here, who you really are, and to remember who you are on your journey home. That's what it's all about. So if you can remember everything that doesn't serve you, the second wave Harmony is coming through, and she's dissipating everything. Anything that's the people in your life that aren't in your highest and best good, that aren't from the white light, that don't have your best interest in their good, they're going to be gone. So that's why you see a lot of the 401ks leaving, the houses, the jobs, because they don't serve you. They're not who you are. That's who society thinks you think that you need, but you don't need them, and they don't resonate with you, and they're not what you came here for. So they're going to take away all that's not you to help you remember who you really are. It's exciting.
Let's get a hallelujah.
Wow.
Stacy Breeze. And by the way, let me point one thing out from Stacy being my personal friend. Stacy, ladies and gentlemen, literally walks the walk. It doesn't just talk the talk. And by the way, Susan Hughes, she's speaking in the Chelsea room at 12 o'clock. Big hand for Susan Hughes. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Our apologies for the scheduling mix-up there a little bit. So thank you so much, Susan. Fantastic astrologer. And Susan, by the way, your website is JupiterRising7 at AOL.com. Or that's your email, yes? So you can contact Susan Hughes at JupiterRising7 at AOL.com. Thank you so much. So to complete my comment about Stacy, when she's talking about 2012 and she's talking about the apocalypse and she's talking about people who all lose their stuff in their houses and everything else, she's been through Katrina. I've seen the photos of her house. Everything that she had was completely destroyed. She literally came to Los Angeles with all of her stuff in her car. And so she's been the place where a lot of people are about ready to experience coming up in the next couple of years. So we need to give her some respect and some props for that because of what she's been through. Okay, coming from the once again our lovely rookie on the panel here who does transference healing and trance channeling. So I'm just going to let you kind of introduce yourself and what you do to the folks and the people, ladies and gentlemen. Miss Alexis Cartwright. I'm sorry, Alexis Cartwright.
Hi, I'm Alexis and I'm from Sydney, Australia. So this is the first time I've returned. So I was touring the States for about 3 years and haven't been back for about 7 or 8. So it's really lovely to be back into the States again. Thank you very much. Basically, I can totally relate to everything's being said here. The global grid changes that are going on, the elemental kingdoms coming through. What initially started how I developed transference healing is that I was a psychic reader. And when I was reading for people, I could see and feel changes happening in their body. And I got told by Spirit I had to change the way I was working and to tune into the body. So I started tuning into the body, and I could see the genetic changes that were occurring before 1999. While I was tuning into the body and looking at the genetic changes, I was given a huge amount of information on the earth changes and how humanity is going into a time of transition. From 1999 to 2012, we were going into a total co-creative process. Our whole genetic nature was changing. We have left the third dimension and entered the fourth dimension in 1999 on the 11th of August at the Green Cross activation. What's actually happened...
That was the eclipse, right?
Yes.
The eclipse, okay. And at the same time, the earthquake happened in Turkey that killed like 40,000 people right at the same time.
Because what they actually said was that the earth changes would increase at this period of time, and it's all part of what you were saying down there. It's all part of the gridding changes that need to occur. That whole global grid matrix is what sustains our whole etheric body. And as it changes, it's shifting in frequency, and it's creating what we call the electromagnetic field. So what's actually happening now is that we're evolving from a third-dimensional body, which is called an atom body, into the atom cadmium body, which is a fifth-dimensional body. Atom cadmium.
Okay, all right, sorry.
So the atom cadmium body basically is that your divine being, your divine self is being reborn again. Your physical mortality is embracing your divinity. Your body vibrationally is changing and it's heightening, your consciousness is heightening, and your light body is anchoring. The last time you had your light body anchored on Earth was at the time of Atlantis. So you're co-creating your divinity right at this time. Everything that's happening on the planet right now, the electromagnetic changes of the grid, is changing the whole dynamics of your whole system. You're evolving and co-creating, and you're in the fourth dimension, which the Mayans call the time of no time. So you actually are in a non-physical dimension. Everything around you does not exist. Everything is changing rapidly. And all these earth changes and all these events and all these astrological alignments are to push us to make this shift internally and our consciousness to evolve. Come 2012, I believe everybody on the planet will have to have hit the fifth dimensional frequency. So your energy and your consciousness will be heightened into a fifth dimensional frequency. You will anchor completely your atom cadmium body, which is the anchoring of your light body. A lot of you have already anchored your light body. Your consciousness is already shifting more rapidly. Once you anchor your light body, your way of healing is much more effective. You can heal yourself so much more effectively because you've got more ether in your body. I totally related to what you were saying. We are becoming androgynous. Our masculine and feminine principle is we're balancing up. The goddess is returning. We are learning all of these sacred teachings of alchemy and healing and transformation. So transference has come through basically to support us to integrate our divinity, our light body, to allow this transition through. And the world is what you were saying there, the world is definitely in 2012 becoming a much better place.
There you go. Alexis Cartwright, ladies and gentlemen. Alexis, do you have a booth here at the show?
Yes, number 500, I think, at the stage.
Okay.
Yeah, the stage.
Oh, it's up on the stage. Yes, of course. It's the big stage in the upper room that says Transference Healing on
yes, that's right.
at the top of it. So she does not have a lecture today. I'm very sorry for the scheduling. We probably should have had you on the on the panel yesterday. But Alexis Cartwright, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. The girls are there if you want to know more anyway. Thank you.
There you go. So I know how shy and demure New Yorkers are, and I know how difficult it is to get you to express an opinion. So so if anybody always gets a laugh, who has a question? If we have questions for the panel, I know Bridget's just burning with a question. What was your question, Bridget? Oh, I'm sorry. He moved on me. Okay, so you are absolutely right. Thank you, Bridget. And James will get you that $20 he owes you. Go ahead, Reverend James. Take it away, brother. I'm so sorry. You moved on me. And
Sean is my brother from another mother,
Thank you
as
so
you
much.
all know.
Thank you so much.
I truly, truly love him and honor him. Let's give Sean a clap, please. Come on. Give it up for him. Ah, gotcha. He's always making me blush. Thank you so much for coming out on my day. You know, my day is Sunday. That's why I got a tie and a suit on today and
You
a
look
white
lovely.
shirt.
You look
Well, I was
very
trying
handsome.
to show my alpha male today.
Very handsome.
Since I always show my effeminate side. But you know,
I am bowled over by your alphaness. I'm getting the vapors right now.
well, you know, it's good to have a balance of the male and the female, because that's where true power comes. Being able to balance the masculine with the effeminate energy. And for those of you who wonder, yes, I do like women. So if you ever wanted to know, I'm telling you, yes, I do. Go ahead and clap. Come on, come on, come on. That's a big surprise, ain't it?
No one's ever asked us that question, James.
Oh, please, somebody asked me just yesterday. Well, the question about what's going on for 2012, I do have some interesting things to share with you. Just yesterday, I got a phone call from Washington, D.C., and it was one of my undercover people that works with one of the California senators. And the information that was given to me was that the bill that everyone's working on for health reform is very, very, very close to closing. And not only is it very close to closing, but guess what? It seems like Obama is getting his way, and that special part of that health bill seems like it's getting inside and it's finding its way. Now, a lot of you like me for the past 60 days were wondering, what the hell is going on? Are they really having committees that they're killing old people? Or are they taking away Social Security? Are people's rights going to be violated? And come on, you know, I have elderly parents too. And, you know, elderly people in my family, and of course I'm concerned. I don't want their health rights taken away. Oh, boy, you're serious now, ain't you? We hit that tone, didn't we? Health care reform. Sean.
Is it good or bad?
Well, the thing is that the Republican Party has been poisoning the pot. And they have spent up to date over $195 million to spoil the pot. And to spoil the pot means to give misinformation. No, you will not have a board of people going around saying, well, you're 90 or 86 years old, let's pull the plug. They don't get medication. That's a lie, and it's from the pit. And in addition to that, those people who really cannot afford health care are really going to get a good deal. Now, that came explicitly just yesterday from the White House. Isn't that wonderful? Let's give them a clap. Come on, give Obama a clap. Now, my prediction, I did a radio broadcast before I left. It was in Kentucky. I said, why them Kentucky people want to hear from me? And then as I was on the radio station, they loved me so good. When I hung up the phone, they called me back and said, we've got to have you on again next week. Will you come back on next week? And all the reason why they had me back on last week, because I told them about, well, not to get off of health care reform, but I wanted to talk a little bit about Michael Jackson. And I got on the line. And we were talking.
He's not dead. I saw him standing by those kids in the big hat. At the
oh, come on. Well, anyway, we was on the line talking about Michael Jackson. They said, can you tell us something that nobody else knew about Michael Jackson? And I said, sure. And they said, what's that? I said, did you know Michael Jackson was bald like Little Richard? And they said, Michael Jackson was bald? I said, yes. I said, matter of fact, you can look on his autopsy report that says that Michael Jackson was balding. They said, well, what about all that beautiful hair? I said, well, look at all that beautiful money. You can buy anything and slap on top of your head now, can't you? And the truth of the matter is, Michael was bald when he went. He was balding. And now back to healthcare reform.
Oh, yes, the dichotomy, the paradox, ladies and gentlemen. From healthcare reform to...
I know, but I just wanted to stick that in because I forgot to say it yesterday about Michael Jackson being bald. But anyway, back to healthcare reform. People are going to be able to afford it, and that's the good thing. And there's going to be some rebuttals about it because there has been some types of new programs set through, especially in my state, in the state of California. And the state of California, people who are illegal aliens get health care reform. Matter of fact, people who are illegal aliens get
that's
more.
why we're broke. It's why we're broke in California.
They get more. They get more than people who are citizens.
That's why we're $60 billion in the hole in California. Thank you so much.
Yes, and that's the truth. As a matter of fact, if you're an illegal alien in the state of California, they give you a house, Section 8, food stamps, welfare, and they give you Medicare. And then if you work all your life and get cancer and get no insurance, they take you apart and put you away.
Actually, they take you to Mexico.
And they take everything you have. And you know what? I'm sorry, this is the truth, ladies and gentlemen. We have people, hard-working people who have worked all their lives, husband and wives, and one comes down with cancer. They lose their house, they lose their income, they lose everything else, and then we have people coming across the border who are sitting up there living next door in a house that's $3,000, and they pay HUD $160. Oh, it's true. It's true. And then it got to the point so bad that you would go to the grocery store and see people with WIC and those food stamps cards and getting all this low-income food and going outside and driving these big old Lincolns and SUVs. So we wrote we wrote the governor about it, and the governor said, you're prejudiced. So I'm sitting down because I don't want to be Lou Dobbs.
There you go. Reverend James Capers, ladies and gentlemen. And one thing you don't know about Michael Jackson, I am the father of his kids. Thank you so much. Thank you. Actually, Reverend, you'll think it's kind of funny. There was a conspiracy theory that Michael Jackson owed people a whole lot of money, and that his death was faked and that he was really alive somewhere. Here's how I know his death wasn't fake. The minute Jermaine started singing at the funeral, Michael Jackson would have popped out of the coffin and go, oh no, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. No, you're not going to be singing at my funeral. No, I know I was supposed to be dead, but no, I'm not dead because I quit the Jackson 5 because of you, Jermaine. No. And it's
and that's right, Sean. You really are psychic because that is why he quit.
But the messed up part about it is that they're going to pin his death on his doctor. Yes. And the joke in Southern California is when a rich white man dies, a black man's got to pay. Okay, it was funnier then. All right, never mind. So because the doctor is aware. Okay, let's. All right, we've got half an hour here. Who's got the most burning question? Who's got the most burning question? Okay, this nice lady here is very sweet. Come on, Snake. Come on. Yeah, I will repeat the question for the audience and for the tape. Okay, the question is, because I can barely hear, is whether or not in the healthcare bill, I didn't want to make this a political thing on healthcare, whether or not in the healthcare bill there was going to be a conscience clause for abortion for nurses and doctors. As far as I can see, there's not. So I don't know if you want to, if there's a comment on it, because...
Well, I'm going to tell you, one of the reasons why healthcare could not close was because of that. They did not want to pay for abortions for people and have the American people tax dollars go that way. However, you're wrong. There is a clause inside of it right now, and I don't know the specifics of it, but that was something that was brought up yesterday about abortions and the government tax-paying dollars being paid for them. So
also the challenge would be is that there's a large number of Catholic hospitals actually that would have their federal funding and any health care actually yanked if the Catholic hospitals refuse to perform DNCs or abortions or whatever else. And of course there's a lot of stuff on stem cell research going on out there. I personally do not think the current state of stem cell research with what they're doing works, whereas there is a form of stem cell research where they're actually now taking the blood from the person, spinning it down for the actual stem cells in the blood, and then re-injecting it into a damaged area, which is what they're doing with athletes now, which has a fantastic success rate, whereas the other stem cell stuff is just, I just think is a complete kind of scientific dead end. Okay, the gentleman in the red shirt there, the very handsome gentleman there. Yes, sir. It's nice to be here. It's nice to have you here. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Yes. Okay, so the question is, how would you, on the one hand, this is a financial question again. Understood. I mean, I have a theory on that, but I don't want to get off on it. You guys can hear what I have to say later on. Interested questions. There does seem to be a dichotomy between the predictions on this. Any ideas? Anybody want to take it? John, you want to take it? Grab that microphone there.
Okay, this is very, very simple actually, because you see both things are correct. While we're going to have systems that are going to collapse, you have a choice as to whether or not you're going to participate in that system or not,
yes,
or whether or how you individually are going to relate to that. Because you have a choice to be cattle and to follow what's happening in a system and just go down with it, or you have a choice to be an individual and do something else. So while everybody else is in chaos and the banks are collapsing and real estate gets worse for most people, that doesn't have to be the case with you, but you're going to have to get conscious, use your intuition. And I really am a big believer about this, what Stacy was saying before, that if your chief feature in all of this is greed, because you truly, when push comes to shove, and you believe that your home is in the physical, then that's where your redemption is going to come. And if the physical is not going to be redeemed, you're going to go down with it. But if your home is in the spiritual, that's where you will be redeemed. I was saying yesterday, it is very, very difficult. In fact, it is excruciatingly painful to think that you're a spiritual person, but the first time something goes wrong in your life, you reach out here to try to manipulate the physical world rather than go inside to try to make a change. So both
very good. Very insightful, very wise, very wise.
Can I say something?
Hold on a second. Okay, Jill.
Because I have
Jill
to
go
leave,
and then Stacy. Okay.
and I have to leave.
I know how busy you are. I know.
No.
You're like Los Angeles. You show up late and you leave early. So.
I'm sorry.
So Jill has to do a premature evacuation, ladies and gentlemen. So it's.
No. First of all, a year ago in January 2008, in the Boca magazine, I predicted that the stock market would crash by July, and I also said it here on the piano that it would crash by July. And when everything goes down, things tend to rise. Remember that. You can't go any further; it will tend to rise. So with the stocks right now, they're going up, just like gold. When I said buy gold here when we were all in the panel 2 years ago, buy gold. Well, where's gold today? It's all the way up, right? It rised. So with the stocks where it's down right now, people are going to be putting some money a little bit there. Not everybody's rich, not everybody's poor, and there's people that are middle class. But what I was trying to say by 2012, and I believe even before 2012, and I just don't understand the year, because the Mayan calendar said 2012 and astrology said.
The Mayans have said it, the Aztecs have said it. There is time coding in the Great Pyramid that says 2012 to 2014 will be a great period of change. The economic forecasts are saying 2012. It's a crux point.
It's a good positive change.
It's a crux point.
A good positive.
Yes.
Well, do you remember in 1999?
Yes.
Do you remember 1999?
Yes.
Okay, everyone had fear in their head, didn't they?
Right? Well, they had fear about, we talked about Y2K, but as I remember from being back that far, nobody on this panel, myself included, was saying that 2000 was going to be that big a deal.
No, none of us.
We did, by the way, in 1997, have a panel where we talked about Y2K, and we had some experts here, and I had concerns about Y2K. about it going on. But they spent almost $1 trillion to fix the problem. So there was enough consciousness about it to be able to actually fix
your point.
what was going on.
There's your point. They fixed the problem. Do you understand? There's people out there that you don't even know in governments. I deal with White House people. I deal with all sorts of different people. There's people in the government fixing problems. You may not be hearing about it. You hear bad press all the time. You don't know these things because people put fear in your mind. Not them, other people, tabloids, things like that. But there are always people fixing things. So what I was trying to say when this gentleman said, well, 1 year, what do you think, 2000, by the end of 2010, 2012, you're going to start to see by 2012, 2011, even starting with the end of next year, how everything will start to rise. You're going to start to see how things will change. There are people fixing, like Sean said. They fixed the Y2K, right? And then what happened in 2000, exactly January? Did the world end? Did the computers crash? No. Was it a sunny day? You woke up, right? But the day before, or 2 days before, people were in fear, correct? So by 2012, that's why I keep saying jobs will be available. That's where people will be making money too. A lot of people don't have jobs right now or throughout the world. You're going to start to see a lot of different changes with the world financially, emotionally, and mentally.
Okay.
And thank you for having me.
There you go. Thank you, Jill. Stacy?
And I will be speaking at 3 o'clock.
Jill's actually in this room, Gramercy Park. I'm sorry, she's speaking at 3 o'clock. John Oliver speaking at 2 o'clock. James Capers is in the Kips Bay room at 1 o'clock. Susan Hughes speaking now. Stacy Breeze, we're not done yet. We got half an hour left. Stacy Breeze is going to be in the Tribeca room, giving her talk at 3 o'clock. A fantastic workshop there. My good friend Dr. Susan Shumsky, who's in the back, passing out some flyers. She's going to be speaking in the Village room at 5 p.m. and then I'm from 5 p.m. and then through whenever. So
I spoke yesterday.
you have to. Okay, all right. There you go, Jill. All right, Stacy, why don't you?
No, I'm good.
Okay, all right. Let me give you a. Thank you, Miss Day. Go out this way. Well, you can go out this way. Where are you supposed to go?
Oh my God! You did that to me. You did that to me.
Oh, I spoke.
I love you.
Watch out for the bag. Let me give you a quick nuts and bolts answer to this to the gentleman's question. Again, sir, did you hear me talk yesterday at all? Sir, the gentleman that asked the question. All right, I'll just answer for you. Having some experience in this and being rather world-renowned for predicting stock market cycles, and I talked in June and I spoke in March that by the fall we would see the stock market back over 10,000. I was the person that predicted that the stock market would go down to 6,500 when it did last year. I told you gold would be over 1,000. I'm still looking at my projection of silver at about $25, and silver's up to about $17. The bottom line, to answer your question, sir, is that what you're about ready to see this quarter being one of the worst quarters on record, and that the government is now hoarding about 90% of the stimulus money. They printed about several $1 trillion of stimulus money, of which they've only spent 10% of it. So what you're going to start seeing is that by next year, they are going to start dumping dollars on the market. And my biggest suggestion for all of you is get the heck out of the U.S. dollar, because the U.S. dollar is going to tank. And what that's going to do is just going to create hyperinflation in some areas and hyperdeflation in other areas. The deflationary cycles are going to be things like automobiles and property and houses and mortgages. They've got all kinds of property in the upper 90s right now here in New York that they can't sell, bargain rate prices. But where the hyperinflation is going to happen is everything that's consumable, gasoline, everything from gasoline, tobacco, alcohol, toilet paper, foodstuffs, everything you buy at the grocery store is just going to go through the roof. But at the same time, you're going to have Obama announcing that he's going back to space. You're going to have this massive war in Afghanistan. It's going to be the death of 1,000 cuts. The whole idea is that no matter what you're being told about healthcare and all the other distractions, the real prize here is control of the U.S. dollar. And once they destroy the U.S. dollar and replace it with what they call SDRs, which are the secured deposit reserve, which is going to be a basket of currencies, if you will, because the Chinese have said they won't have the U.S. dollar anymore as the reserve currency. The Europeans have said they won't have the U.S. dollar as the reserve currency. They no longer want to trade oil in U.S. dollars. And this is the unfair deal right here. we protect the oil supply lines of the world. Our military and your taxes make sure that oil gets from point A to point B, and now the rest of the world is telling us they're not going to trade in oil, and that's not going to fly with certain aspects of the government. So you're going to see, yes, you're going to see some prosperity next year. You will see, here's a prediction for you, you'll see the stock market back up to about 16,000 or so, actually a new record highs, and people will point to that and say, oh, this is the economic recovery. It's not. What they're doing is that they're tanking the dollar, and is gold really over 1,000? Is gold really more valuable, or is the dollar worth far less? And that's, in essence, what you're going to see over the next year as they dump trillions of dollars into the market. They will just be tossing money out of helicopters, but the bottom line is that you're going to be looking at hyperinflation and the eventual destruction of the economy of the United States. All they're looking to do is get through the 2010 election. That's all they're looking to do, is increase the economy through then. Then once the White House gets control of the census, then what you're going to see with revolution and revolt in Mexico, with literally millions of Mexicans pouring across the border, not as illegal aliens, but as refugees, they're going to call it. That's how they're going to bankrupt the system, control the census, and basically just breed any opposition out of existence by controlling the districting. So that's a whole other thing.
Sean, can I add something to that?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Because Jill left earlier.
Okay.
I don't know that the government's actually fixing things like she was indicating. I wanted to debate that issue. I think they're causing the problem, and I think there's an Illuminati connection to this. I think the whole thing's
deliver
planned.
the mail.
I think that health bill has an attachment to the end that's actually giving up more of our economy, the Federal Reserve System control.
Yeah.
And I think the government's actually part of this, and I don't think.
Thank you. A voice of reason,
the government
ladies and
and
gentlemen.
finance and all of these are going to work. Your investment, your question, I don't think the system is going to work the way it does now. I think it's all going to change. So we have to be looking for ways to bring about the change,
Yes.
but we have to eliminate support of the way the government and others are trying to tell us how to bring about the change.
Right. This might also, what Christian is talking about also, this may also lead into the breakup of the United States. I mean, as far as July goes, if you look at the astrological aspects, no matter how much overbearing, totalitarian, Orwellian control they try to impose, there is always, the biggest thing that they are afraid of is you, ladies and gentlemen, informed citizens. And the bottom line here is that if it breaks up, you're going to see communities actually issuing local currencies, issuing scrip, issuing in Hermosa Beach, where I live, in the 20s, we had scrip where the government printed money, where you could go out and do the local shops. You actually, the cool thing about where you're at here in New York is Manhattan could be an isolated economy, if you will. I mean, if Bloomberg came out, not that he would do this, but if somebody started actually issuing scrip for local neighborhoods where you could use it at the grocery store or whatever else, and then the government started using that same scrip for taxes, you may see that as an alternative to a refinance, for example, like for when New York went bankrupt. It was back in the late 70s or 80s, I think it was, when New York City went bankrupt. So, all right, yes, sir. A question in the back with the Yankees hat on. You guys beat my Angels, damn you Yankees. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. And water was most valuable. He says the Twilight Zone episode where rich people bought gold and water was the most valuable thing. Yes. Where would be the safest place to live with all this going on in the natural catastrophes? Again, if you guys want to take that, my opinion is where you're at is, I mean, it's just there's no place that's really going to be safe from a lot of the government stuff that they're talking about. It's going to be what you create. So go ahead, Chris.
Let me just introduce that.
Sure.
A lot of it depends on what the catastrophe is. If it's a gravitational field change, you could probably stay where you're at. But what if the Earth flips, a polar flip? Okay? In New York, the water may rise.
That would probably mess up your day, I would think. Okay? Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be good.
Damn that Earth
what if the
flipped
caldera
yesterday?
exploded in Yellowstone? You don't want to be around there or Las Vegas, right? So you got to try and track these things and figure out where you want to be. It's interesting that the governments are all building bases in Antarctica.
Yes,
okay?
that is very odd.
It's interesting that
Australia,
yeah.
I might add, Australia near a place called Alice Springs and Pine Gap in Australia, massive underground cities in Australia because they think Australia is one of the most geological sound places on the planet. So there are trillions of dollars going into underground.
And there is an Illuminati connection to all of this. And by the way, the Illuminati isn't necessarily in favor of Australia and New Zealand either.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Alexis, you have something to say. Thank you so much.
You know, you
What's the
Americans
opinion
are
from down
so
under
well
there,
known
love?
for conspiracy theories. I tell you, I've had a wonderful time.
Okay.
It's at the end of the day, I totally relate to what you say. when I was channeling this new information about the light body coming through, I've been guided to go to many locations on the planet because I'm a gridder. I tune into the grid changes and I go there. And a lot of my graduates go there. And interesting, there's always an earthquake just before I get there or just after I leave. And when I looked up Edgar Case's theories, everywhere intuitively I've been guided to go are where it's meant to sink. I believe if your light body is activated and you'll hit the fifth dimension, you're healing the planet. You're creating a reality that's creating the next golden age. I totally get what you said. We're not meant to get into this fear. Buy into it. If you're co-creating a fifth dimensional reality and not working a third dimensional reality, you're not going to live in the chaos. The chaos is going to go on around you. You could have two sheep in a field and one decides to go off and eat the grass on the other side of the field, and then the field falls down and the other one dies because intuitively you know not to be there. And I believe the earth is healing itself, and I believe economically I did predict the economic crash. And the thing is, I believe that was meant to happen because through that we've changed our consciousness. We don't want the suffering. We don't want the separation. We want to unify and support and heal the planet and each other. And we're all coming more into a state of oneness. So I really believe we just have to hold our light and be true to our faith and our belief system. And I don't say to Spirit, I'm not going to go to that grid line or that location and run energy because, it's unstable. I go there because I'm guided and I know Spirit will take care of me. If I don't go there, I'm not supporting the planet. So I feel that if you're connected to Spirit, you'll know where to be.
Yeah. That's a wonderful sentiment, but I actually would say that all of it's true. There will be catastrophes. There will be change on the earth. And some of us will follow the path of raising our consciousness, but not everybody will be able to do that. Okay. All of this will probably occur. Right. We can't all just surround ourselves with the white light and think it's going to be great. The world has to change in order for us to have this rise in consciousness.
Ooh, psychic fight.
There's going to be positive and there's going to be negative. Okay.
All right.
One thing on that. The fact is, the more you hold your light, the more you change the world around you. Bottom line. And so I do believe, yes, we're going to have the chaos, but those people who choose to be in the chaos are going to suffer and suffer and suffer until they make the shift. So they either leave the planet or they stay.
I believe some of what you're saying, and I believe some of what you're saying. But the question was, is there a safe place that you feel that you can go in the world? I bought property in Deming, New Mexico, because that's where my spirit said go. Thank you.
Tibet, Mount Hernon.
Stacy Breeze, speak loudly and weigh in on this one. You touched a nerve there, you damn Yankee.
And I was going to mention this earlier after Jill spoke, and I thought, no, I'm not going to I don't want to really sound woo-woo, but basically what it boils down to, what is the safest place of where you're supposed to live? It's in your thoughts. And I know that kind of sounds like la la la, but I'm telling you, your thoughts today are creating your experiences tomorrow. So you don't want to have to worry about what's going to happen between now and 2012. Turn off your TV. Don't start your day with the crash and this and all this negativity because you're putting it in your energy field. What you're thinking, you're putting it out. You're sending that vibrational frequency. The universe loves you. The second you ask for something, it's an emotional escrow for you immediately. But we're in this third dimension, and we don't think we deserve it. For whatever reason, that the things that you know that you deserve that should be coming to you aren't, it's because your thoughts. So what you need to do is you need to go to Louise Hayes, whatever some of the other, they have motivational cards. You need to stick them in your houses. I have them in my car. I have them in everywhere at my office, because the higher you can keep your vibrational frequency, the more you're going to manifest, and the more you're going to see what's available to you rather than being miserable, having negative people around you, having negative thoughts. You have negative thoughts, you're going to have negative experiences. So you want to worry about the safest place. You want to worry about your money. Go inward and tell your spirit guides and tell the universe what you want, how you want it. Don't sit down in a restaurant and give your order and then turn around and be the one and take the order, then turn around and run to the kitchen and cook it, and then be the expediter and run out and do it. Just place your order. That's all you have to do, and just relax and let the universe bring it to you.
Amen.
Don't get caught up in all this fear. Put out there what you want and sit down and let it come to you.
There you are. Stacy Breeze, there she is. Turn off your TV. How can I start my day without knowing what Hoda and Kathy Lee think, huh? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, in the back. Yes, sir. Thank you for being here, by the way. Thank you. Where are all the young folks that are coming into that should be concerned about this? We're all fighting for your future, sir. Seriously. So let me just repeat this for the tape. So you have two parents. They argue about this. One parent thinks 2012's a disaster. The other parent apparently doesn't. Sees that spiritual enlightenment will come. Yes. Okay. Yes. What exactly is the deal with 2012? We only have like 10 minutes left, so it's like I can't even talk about it. Okay. People are going to be screwed, people aren't going to be screwed. Well, that's the beauty of the panel. It's different opinions, so. Are we going to overcome the situation? Is that the question? Well, I think this is kind of a great thing to get everybody's opinion on, so we can, because we've only got about 7 minutes left here. If I can squeeze in one more question, I will. Great question, coming for the younger generation.
Some of it.
Starting
again, it's all true.
Hold on, Chris. If I can get you guys to answer his question and also give me your parting shot, because to go through everybody here, we've only got about 7 minutes left. Okay, so take it.
All of what we're saying is true. There will be physical catastrophes. It's been recorded in the earth since the beginning of time. These things happen periodically every time consciousness changes. That's how we got from Lemurian to Atlantean and now to what we are now. There will be a consciousness change, which means there will be physical change. But yes, in the end, consciousness will prevail, those of us that reach out to a higher level of consciousness. But everybody won't, and that's why there's some of this controversy. That's why there's some of these 2012 conspiracy theories and other things going on. All of it applies.
And actually, let me do this. Alexis, why don't you answer next, and we'll go back and forth there. So take the gentleman's question there.
Look, I truly believe the internal changes that are happening with the gridding and the whole shift and the astrological events that are happening, internally we're being pushed to evolve. We're going to evolve into the fifth dimension. And I actually think come 2012, you're going to have a polarity. You're going to have the most enlightened being, and then you're going to have the one that's the least enlightened on the planet. Who is that going to be? Because ultimately everybody will have to evolve into the fifth dimensional frequency. They will have to do it because it is predicted, and that's what the Mayans were talking about. We're going from a third to fifth dimension. We are in the time of no time. We're in a time of co-creation, and thank God we're evolving into a whole new world. And all of these dynamics playing out, what is it doing to you? You're clearing fear. You're changing. You're clearing and you're evolving. You have to do this to hit the fifth dimension, or how are you going to get there? It's a different reality in the way that you lived in the third dimension. So everything's going to change, and I feel it's all for the best.
Amen. Stacy, you take it now.
I'm going to be short and sweet. I'm just going to reiterate
what
I said earlier. I think that it's just think of this shift as a grad school. You've gone through what you've gone through. You had the childhoods. You've had the heartbreaks, and you've had all of the catastrophes that you've had. Honor them and try to take those people that have done the horrible things and send them. You can't take all your junk with you when you go. When this shift happens, you've got to get rid of it. So take a little bit of time each day and kind of think about those people that you really just want to just give a good little smack to, and send some little, I know this sounds woo-woo again, send them a little unconditional love and thank them for doing their end of the deal, because everything that's happened between you and everyone on this planet is a contract. When someone comes into your energy field, you either are supposed to learn from them or they're supposed to learn from you. So just kind of keep that and get rid of the, oh, woe is me, I had a horrible childhood, I can't believe this happened. Get rid of it, because it's not going to serve you and you can't take it with you when you go. These waves are coming through, they're powerful to get rid of all the things that you're not. So be conscious of your thoughts, connect with your helpers on the other side, and know that this is all happening for you to remember who you are, why you came, and to enjoy your journey home.
Hallelujah. John Oliver, take it, buddy.
Okay, so everything that we can do to move ourselves, think ourselves, shock ourselves into waking up a little bit more, That's what's going to wake up the planet as a consciousness. So the planet will do what it does. If we all decide not to cooperate, not to wake up, not to be light beings, the planet will go on anyway. That's that great show on the History Channel that talks about life after people. The planet will heal itself. Whether we heal ourselves or not, that's going to be up to us. And both of your parents are correct, both of them. Before a baby is born, and as a baby it's born, it's painful, it hurts, blood comes out, stuff oozes out, but then the baby comes and everything is fine and wonderful. So they're both right. The baby is going to be born, and that's going to be a painful transformational process, because transformation can be painful. So please, everybody, whatever you can do to wake yourself up just a little bit more, that contributes to waking up the whole humanity so that we can do this.
Amen. The birth is coming, and spirit and meditation is the Demerol, baby cakes. All right, take it away. Reverend James. Bring us home, buddy.
I'm going to show you all how powerful I really am. I'm going to speak my word right now and say that in 2012, nothing will happen. Okay? Not only will I say that, but since it's Sunday, I'm going to do a 1-minute prayer. Can you bow your heads, please? God, there are many people who have much concern here in this place right now. And we're all coming before you, the power within the universe. You who sits up high and looks down low. We're going to ask that whatever the situation is for 2012, that your hand now be in it and move all the negativity to a side. And that each and every one of us here today shall be enlightened, move to the next level, and we shall be evolved into new creatures. And the world shall be happy, and there shall be great peace among us. Amen.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. There we go. And let me get the last word here. We are floating, all of us, on a sea of possibilities, and we're surfing waves of realization into the shores of manifestation. So I think that's the California thing. Let's do and actually I'll have you do one kind of. We'll do the California chant of ultimate happiness here for you in just a second. But let me just comment. Let me just make one comment here, because I got like 3 minutes to close. If you guys don't mind, to that gentleman right there. Thank you so much for coming here. I mean, we've been talking so long about where are the young folks in this. So many people disrespect younger people because they're all twittering and twatting each other and or whatever it is. Or if you're, I mean, isn't a twit in England an idiot? Isn't that? But it's that you're all on your iPods and whatever else. And yet the young people that I've met have been deep, have been spiritual, have been very advanced. They talked about an energy coming in the 1930s, a wave of manifestation, the Christos literally coming in the clouds that changes our DNA, that shifts everything that's going on. And then in 1985, the Great Pyramid points to the beginning of the manifestation of what would be first the blue ray children, and then the indigo children, and then the violet children that then come after that. It's all about a shift and change in the DNA. The fascinating thing about 2012 as a crux point is that, is anything going to happen? Is the Earth going to flip over? Who knows? No one can really say. You know why? Because all prophecy has basically become mute, because we have become co-creator gods with each other. And so what's happened with this is that we've moved through the Vedic age, where we applied knowledge and literally God walked among us, if you will. And then what happened was we began to create things in form, and then we started worshiping the things in the form, and then priests put themselves around the outside of this and occulted it, if you will, to show us that we could not create, so that they could control the choke points of energy and information. And what's happened now is that now, with the free flow of information, with the Library of Atlantis literally floating like the Age of Aquarius through the air on your laptops with infinite knowledge, literally at your fingertips, libraries that would make the Library of Alexandria pale in comparison, literally at your fingertips. Okay, yeah, it's Wikipedia, but it's still Wikipedia. It's still some kind of knowledge out there somewhere in the ethers. So the idea is you have more access to more knowledge, more wisdom, and more information than you ever have. The idea is to be able to discern information from wisdom, and to be able to take discernment, and to be able to use that two-edged sword that pierces the soul asunder, if you will, to understand the discernment of that and find out what's true and what isn't. Who knows? Because the bottom line is, what's true and what isn't is only true in your heart. And for whatever all these people say, and whatever all these experts say, what I always say is my litmus test for what goes on with people is the Christ empowered you. The Christos brings the energy of God to make sure it manifests within you. I'm not even a teacher. I can't teach you anything. I tutor you because you are infinite radiant beings where there is no death, there is no time. We all started in eternity past with God the Creator. We will end up in eternity of the future with God the Creator. And all I can do is remind you how magnificent and stupendous you are. Give me a hallelujah to that. Hallelujah. So all these folks remind you of how spectacular you are. Remind you that this generation, these people here, you have a responsibility right now because you have been spoken of in prophecy. You have been whispered of by the Mayans. There have been stone monuments built to you that predict this particular period of time right now in history. So leave it all behind, leave all the crap behind, and seize your destiny. Become the angelic beings that you are. Grow those wings out of your skeleton, so to speak. This is why I wore the shirt today, actually, because it's Halloween. So there we go. But feel the manifestation of the wings coming out of you. Develop the 12 chakra energy system that's radiating through your body. Listen to all these amazingly wise tutors here who have the experience, who've just gone on a little bit ahead, who've said, "Come on down this path. It's not so bad. There's not a tiger in the bushes. Things are going to be okay." And God bless you, sir, because we are doing this for the younger generation, because you are going to inherit the world that we ultimately make. And so, therefore, we're going to do the California chant of ultimate joy and happiness, whether you like it or not. Put your hands out like this, everybody, and go like this. Go pa, pa, om, ma, ma. Now do it fast. Pa, 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 om, mao, mao, pa, pa, om, mao, mao. Ba, ba, ba. It's a strange universe, and we just work here. Thanks a lot.
Okay, baby. You're so awesome. A great job, young man. Oh, you too. That was good. I love when you give so much compliments. I'm so glad I had a chance to come. I wasn't coming. We'll come back. We're meals.
Okay, thank you. I didn't even know I was on it, actually.
Yeah, don't be